Good evening and welcome everybody to Wednesday Night Live from Courtroom Confidential, the fastest growing true crime news channel on YouTube. Thank you everybody so much for being here. I hope that your week has been going well so far. Ours has been very, very busy. We're doing last minute preparations for CrimeCon coming up. If you haven't heard about it, we will tell you more details about it later, but we are definitely going to be there, and we're getting together all the giveaway items and the signage and all of this other nonsense that you don't think about. You can't just show up to these conventions and say, hey, we are very nice to meet you all. There's a lot that goes into it that we are learning about on the fly. And we're also learning that we should have probably learned about it about a month ago. So we're pulling it all together at the last minute, but it's all going to come together. That's how things work out here at Courtroom Confidential. Everything comes together beautifully at the very last second. Thank you everybody for being here. It's going to be a very fun show because we have a very fun guest who I'm about to tell you about. But before I do that, I want to introduce myself. My name is Joshua Ritter. I am a former LA County District Attorney. I was a prosecutor for over 10 years. Then I left to go into private practice as a criminal defense attorney, and that is what I do now when I'm not on here talking to you guys about true crime cases. This is Courtroom Confidential, where we do our best to present to you both sides of the courtroom, and this is our Wednesday night live show where we try to bring you a new guest every single week and talk about some of the cases that you've been following closely. Our special guest this evening is one of my favorite YouTubers, one of my favorite people in true crime, and one of my favorite people in general, and that is Gisela from Grizzly True Crime. We're going to be talking about the Matthew Restelli case, a case that you may or may not have heard of, but she's done some deep dives on, and I find to be fascinating. And also the Nicholas Casotus, I'm learning how to pronounce that correctly, Kassotis case, also a very fascinating case that we haven't talked about a whole bunch on this channel, but he's currently in trial right now, and Gisela has been following it. So you showed up for a very good night. Hello to all the Grizzlies I already see in the comments. Hello to Shara Andrade and Sky Goodness 87. And who else do we have here? Southern Charmed. And I just saw somebody. It's going by so quickly. Kathleen Craghead. Thank you guys, everybody, so much for being here and for saying hi in your Grizzly call. Stay to the very end, please, for announcements. We do have some special announcements for you about things coming up. Thank you so much, Don Schnabel, for becoming a YouTube member. Appreciate that. Kathy Davidson for becoming a YouTube member. Trey Morrissey for becoming a YouTube member. I love that. I love this rush of new membership. Please, if you can, take a moment, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I'm going to keep my mouth shut now as we bring on our very special guest. Hey, Gisela, how you doing?
Hello, Josh. Nice to see you at 2 in the morning.
At 2 in the morning. I'm so glad that you brought that up. I always have to tell everybody how grateful I am to have you on. And I'm especially grateful because we keep you up way past when it should be your bedtime already. But look at you. You look like you just woke up. You're glowing. You look like you're full of energy, but thank you for being here. It's 2 a.m. in the morning there.
Thank you. I had to confess. Otherwise, the Grizzlies are going to say, go to bed. You go to bed. I'm here, and I'm very happy to be here, and the feeling is mutual. You are also one of my absolute favorite. Are you a YouTuber now?
I think I am.
Lawyer,
have I officially become a YouTuber? I think so.
I think you're a YouTuber now, so I'm really always so happy to be here. It actually feels quite cool to be on the show now because I take you with me everywhere. I always tell you guys in chat, I take Courtroom Confidential all over Switzerland, on trains, on runs, on walks in the forest.
I love it. I got to get you some like a bunch of stickers to hand out or something like that to spread the word.
Right? Yeah. You do it in German.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well, thank you again. I really love chatting with you because you always know more about these cases than I do, which I thoroughly enjoy because you can educate all of us. But I also do appreciate that you were willing to stay up this late. We have before had you record something ahead of time, but tonight you decided to make a special appearance. So I'm very grateful for that.
And I jinxed it because I was like, it's going to be fine because I'm not covering a trial. I'm covering a trial.
I know.
I'm covering a trial live every day, and here I am. So I jinxed it. To everyone who heard me say it, I jinxed it. But I'm very happy to be here, and I am awake.
So I know everybody's going to yell at me if I keep you up too late. So I'm going to try to get through this stuff quickly so we get you to bed at least with a couple of hours to sleep. But I know you're a big fan of naps like I am too.
Yeah, you just got to chunk it, just 4 hours here, 2 hours there.
It adds up. Should we jump into this first case? Again, these are cases that we have not talked about a whole bunch on this channel yet. But I'm glad that we are now because they're fascinating in their own right. So the first one involves a man by the name of Matthew Restelli, who was murdered. The allegations are that he's murdered. This has not gone to trial yet. I'm going to let you fill in, everybody, why it's in the news now. That is Matthew that we're looking at. It's slated to go to trial next year, but it's an interesting case that I think a lot of people should know about because a lot of folks are comparing it to the Donna Adelson case and the murder of Dan Markel, because it is similar. And in fact, it has one very creepy, what do you call it, connection to these cases that we'll get into. But the accusations are that his wife, whose name was Catherine Restelli, whose name is Catherine Restelli, along with her brother, Kevin Ellis, and her mother, there's the Donna Adelson connection, Tracy Grist, plotted to murder this man. And it was over, I don't even have to say it, and I'm sure everybody can start guessing it. It was over divorce, and it was over child custody, and it was over money, I'm sure was involved in the whole thing. But tell us about the plot, because they're separated. She's living in Utah, correct? He's still living in California, and then she kind of lures him back to Utah. And do you want to tell us? I'll let you pick it up from there.
So here's the thing. They weren't separated. The poor guy. I feel so sorry for this victim who was married to Catherine Restelli for, I think it was 7.5 years, and they had 2 kids. And she decided in her own mind, I want out. So she packed up the kids on June 20th of 2024, and she drove from their marital home in California and went to stay with her mom in Utah. When she got there, she started dating other people. She was like going on dates. Her mom was encouraging this, and she was seeing a divorce attorney. Then she told some of her friends on Discord, like there's so much evidence in this case on Discord and on FaceTime that it's not going so well. I don't think this divorce is going to be as easy as I thought because of the different states, which I think you'll know more about with the legalities of that. And so her and her mother and brother are accused of conspiring to then just get rid of Matthew Restelli because they wanted Catherine there in Utah. The brother was also there. Tracy Grist, the mother, the wannabe Donna Adelson, which we'll get into, she had 7 children. Catherine is one of her daughters, and Kevin Ellis is one of her sons. The 3 of them conspired to get rid of Matthew Restelli so they can have Catherine there and the grandkids there, and everyone can just live happily ever after in Utah. So which by the way, before Catherine left, she makes as if, I just got there and I don't know, it was just like he arrived in self-defense. That's crazy because she put an air tag in her husband's truck when she then left. So the entire family was tracking him with that air tag without his knowledge. And then she lured him. While he's driving around.
While they're texting each other and she's updating them all to his location.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, literally almost minute by minute. By the time she had lured him there, because he said, like, are you coming home? She said, I'm just here for a breather. I'm just at my mom's for a breather. And then eventually he says, well, I'm going to send you a rental car. I'm going to get you a rental car. Go get it. No, she can't pick it up. Now she's got a sprained ankle, something her mother helped her make up. So they lure him there. And she said, you have to arrive in your truck. You have to come here in your truck. Shame. And the poor guy was like, I'm not coming inside because I don't want to see your mother. I just want to go there, pick you up and the kids, and let's go. And they convinced him to come inside. He goes inside. Entire family knows exactly when he's arriving. The brother shoots him, and they claim self-defense.
Let me back up for a second because I want to make sure I understand this. Are you saying that when she goes to Utah, she's not clear with him about, I'm leaving you, I want a divorce? It's almost, she's just like, I'm going to go visit my mom, and then she starts to live this other life.
Yes, and she's telling him, I love you, and it's just a breather, and updating him even on the day when he's driving there. I love you, and updates and like what time you're arriving and you can sleep over here. And then she convinces him, you have to, when you arrive on July 12th of 2024, when you arrive, you must come inside because I've got heavy things for you to help me lift. There was nothing. They found nothing to lift. So he said, okay, fine. I'll just like quickly come inside. All the lights were off. He goes inside and there already stands allegedly the brother, Kevin Ellis. He does admit to shooting him, but there he stands. Immediately, within 1 minute, 7 to 8 shots are fired. Then they staged the scene.
This is, and I want to get to the stage scene because it includes, I think, what is one of the most fabulous blunders of any kind of setup murder I've ever heard of. But this is where it really does start to become very similar to the Donna Adelson Dan Markel case. Is that I wasn't aware of that wrinkle that I thought that they were going through a divorce, but she had not been honest with him and is now. So now she's like taking part in just like emotional abuse of him as well, stringing him along, making him believe everything's fine. The issue she finds out, according to some of the articles I read, was that the divorce was not going to be easy for her because of custody, because she had moved across state lines, because they had been domiciled in California. You can't just say, I'm leaving you, I'm taking the kids, and I'm going out of state. That's going to cause problems for custody. So she realized that it may have trapped her in California where she didn't want to be. She wanted to be in Utah with mom and the rest of her family, very similar to the Adelsons, where they didn't, even then it's worse. They just didn't want to be in northern Florida. They wanted to be in southern Florida, but that was enough for them to commit murder there. So they go about conspiring, which I guess you could call it somewhat elaborate in the sense that they lured him into the home. The brother's waiting there with a gun, and then they have a knife, and they, to your point, pose him with the knife. But what do they do that is just spectacular as a blunder?
So they put the knife in his non-dominant hand. And the knife is an Evotech knife, which comes from a subscription box that Tracy Grist, wannabe Donna Adelson, has. Now, why do we say wannabe Donna Adelson? She was literally Googling, where was Donna Adelson arrested? Yeah. How old were Dan Markel's kids when he was killed? She was using the Dan Markel case as like a playbook to come up with this plan. But then I think she thought, let me one up them. And what they did wrong was get a hitman involved. So what we're going to do is just involve our own family. Now, this is all allegedly. But she did Google those things. They have so much evidence of what she Googled, and then looking at the Utah self-defense laws and the gun laws, and yes, the divorce laws. She's looking up all of that. And this poor guy had no idea that Catherine Restelli, his wife, was bragging to her friends that, oh yeah, I've cheated on my husband in person and online a lot. He had no idea.
Can we talk about the irony of all ironies too, that she's looking up the Dan Markel case and Donna Adelson as, like you said, perhaps some sort of inspiration or blueprint for the murder that they're about to commit, not realizing the biggest lesson of that case is that everybody's going to prison so far. Like every single person who's been involved, aside from one, and I can already hear everybody shouting out the name of the one person who's missing, but everybody's going to prison and everybody's been convicted. It's not exactly the case that you want to be taking as inspiration if you're trying to get away with murder. But back to this point about they go about posing him and they put the knife in his wrong hand. They put it in his left hand, right? I'm getting this correct.
They put it in his right hand.
They put it in his right hand and he's left-handed. Now,
yes, and they put it backwards.
Colossal stupidity, sloppiness, or is that her not even realizing her husband's left or right-handed? It's what I'm starting to wonder.
She was upstairs with the kids. So, you know, she said the kids were sleeping. So Catherine Restelli, the wife, upstairs with the kids. So the mother, wannabe Donna Adelson, is in the kitchen. And then the brother is apparently standing in the living area in the dark, waiting for Matthew Restelli to walk in the door. And he's the one that admits he fired shots, but he says it's self-defense. But what they didn't realize is not only they forgot. So Catherine forgot to say, by the way, my husband's left-handed. No. He had his shoes off as well. His sandals were by the doorway. He was lying face down. They put this knife, which the Tracy Grist wannabe Donna Adelson, got from a subscription box. Okay,
Yeah.
that's they literally have a
It's
emailing
cheap.
about this.
In other words, too cheap to go buy a knife for the purpose of this. Used a knife that she already had.
Right, and they put this knife backwards in his non-dominant hand, and don't notice, because he's wearing a long sleeve shirt, that he'd been shot through the wrist. So he wouldn't be able to grip that knife the way that they put it, as if he was gripping it. So, I mean, that already, I feel like if the jury is going to listen to that and anyone doubts, well, what if it was self-defense? What if he was agitated? What if he did try to attack Kevin Ellis in 1 minute? Okay, but then there's the AirTag story.
Yeah.
Because the whole family knew to the minute when he was arriving. They texted each other like, okay, 10:06 p.m. He's arriving. My goodness. This case is so crazy.
It is so crazy. And it is incredibly diabolical, to the amount of planning that goes into this and the cold-heartedness of it, because weren't the kids in the house as well?
The kids were in the house. I'm still wondering if it's going to come out. Did they like knock them out?
Her husband murdered with the kids in the house. The kids are going to hear the sounds of the gunshots and grow up. They now are, but she knows this ahead of time, grow up for the rest of their lives knowing that their father was killed all of 30 feet away from them.
Yes, that was on July 12th of 2024, and they were only 3 and 5 years old at the time, but still, to know that, and now their mother is sitting in jail, grandmother's in jail, uncle's in jail. And I mean, and he drove 10 hours to be there. He drove from California.
Because he's trying to save his marriage.
Temecula. Yeah. And actually, he was so excited to see his wife and kids because he hadn't seen them for 3 weeks. He was like, okay, you took a breather. It's okay. I'll come fetch you.
Heartbreaking.
You really had no idea.
Let's talk. I want to talk about where things stand now, because it has taken a very interesting twist and very different than the Donna Adelson case. But one more thing I have to point out, we talked about the Google searches.
Oh, yeah.
She's also communicating with people in like a chat group or something like that, right? Kind of bragging about, oh, my life's about to change. Today's a big day. So there's a lot of kind of circumstantial evidence about what she's up to, but it got to go down in the Google Hall of Fame. We always hear about these murderers and they Google the most insane stuff. But one of the things she Googled was, what attracts mountain lions to humans? Did you run across this? One. Oh yeah, I run across that in an article today. So she was going through every possible avenue that she could have figured out to how to possibly murder this man. Maybe she could have gotten a mountain lion to do her dirty work for her. Incredible.
I don't know.
Sophia
got her brother too.
Sophia, thank you so much. 2 of my favorite people on YouTube all at once. Oh, that's very, very sweet of you. Thank you. And then Kay Schmidt, thank you so much for gifting the Courtroom Confidential memberships. And Jody for gifting the memberships. Appreciate that as well. Mofo for gifting a membership. J Mofo, pardon me. Thank you, guys. All right. Where do things stand now? Because this did take a turn. So there are 3 defendants, but they're not all heading to trial. What's the latest?
Okay, so Catherine Restelli has pleaded guilty. And it was actually to quite major charges. I got to remind myself. She pleaded guilty to 2nd-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and felony discharge of a firearm. So they dropped the charges of the domestic violence in the presence of children, maybe because she thinks she now has a chance of seeing her children. I don't know. But her pleading guilty could mean that she would have to testify against her mother and brother. Their trials are set tentatively, it might change, but they say a vague date of January 2026. But she's going to be sentenced on September 9th of 2025. And I mean, she faces between 6 and up to life without parole for the charges that she faces. So it's going to be very interesting. That's a question I actually have. I'm sure people have it for you as well. If she is sentenced before they even go to trial, would she still be expected to testify against them?
Yes, and they can make her sentence contingent upon that. In other words, they can sentence you and say that part of this includes your further cooperation with the case. In other words, bringing it back to the Donna Adelson case, remember one of the shooters in that case, or I know there was only one gunman, but one of the hitmen, and I'm blanking on his name right now. If you guys in the chat can remind me, took a deal that involved his cooperation, and he has been sentenced but that cooperation has now lasted close to 10 years that he's had to continue to come back and testify. So they own him during that whole period of time if he wants to maintain the benefits of that deal still. And they could do the same thing with her. I had read, and again, we're going off of reports, and who knows how. Oh, that's it. Luis Rivera. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Going off of reports for what's in the news, however reliable that can be. But I had read that this is involving a cooperation, that this deal does involve cooperation and does involve immunity to some extent. And you might be saying, well, how in the world can it involve immunity if she's pleading guilty to second-degree murder? Well, she's probably going to talk about a lot of things that would lay the basis for first-degree murder. I mean, that's what she's guilty of, is first-degree murder. The planning of this shows tremendous premeditation, but she's going to talk about all of that and testify against them. So it's pretty incredible. There is certainly not as much loyalty in the Grist family, or whatever her maiden name was, as there was in the Adelson family, because they're not taking deals over at Adelson, but they are taking deals when it comes to Catherine Restelli and against her family. So yeah, she's going to plead to second-degree murder, which is a huge benefit to her. It's still an incredibly serious charge. She'll probably go to prison for decades, but it will probably give her the opportunity of one day seeing the outside of a prison, which is not going to be the same benefit to her mother or brother. And it's pretty incredible to me, and I'm curious what you think about this, that they made the deal with the wife, who seems like the one who's at the center of the whole thing, right?
Right, kind
You know
of,
what I'm
yes.
saying?
I feel like it was very interesting. I was very surprised by that she's the one that they made the deal with, or that is, they must have offered her a plea deal and she accepted it. So that is very, very interesting. But I wonder if they think she's gonna spill the tea on her mom, because the mom is such a wannabe, allegedly Donna Adelson, that she, I think, would be the matriarch and the mastermind behind a lot of this, because she didn't like Matthew Restelli. Yeah. She wanted to get rid of him probably more than the wife did. The wife was just, wanting to, I don't know what. She was Googling pet names for a lover hours before her husband was killed.
Didn't the wife, though, then go on a date? Am I confusing this with another case? Didn't she go on a date like the next day?
She was dating. Yeah, I don't know if she actually went on a date after that, but she'd gone before. She was looking up pet names for a lover. She was looking up, and please pardon my language, she Googled how to tell a guy you're on your period, after the murder, and 5 ways to get rid of hickeys, like days after the murder, showing her friends on Discord and FaceTime, look, this is the blood on the carpet where he died. What? And then her mother's in the background saying, well, if I knew you like true crime, would show you the body, to one of the friends. These people, they've got all that evidence.
Here's my hot take on why they may have offered the plea deal to the wife, because to me, the wife is the center of this whole thing. She's the reason why they're committing this murder, right? It's her marriage to this man. She wants out of it. One, it's either what you said. It's a very similar to a Donna Adelson situation, in that mom is pulling the strings and mom is the one who made the decision. And they can tell that through the text messages and interactions, that its mom is far more criminally culpable, they feel, than daughter is. Or, and I think this is maybe more likely, she's just the first one to come to the government. She's the first one to pick up the phone, proverbially, and say, give me a deal. I'm willing to flip. What do you want from me? I got to get out of prison. Do you want me to testify? I'm happy to testify. It could have been, by the way, folks, it doesn't always have to come from the government. It can come from the defense saying, I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z if you can give me a deal. And maybe she's the first one to have done that.
Yeah. Could be. I mean, it's really, really interesting to see if we're going to see her testify, if the other two don't get offered plea deals or don't take them or don't plead guilty. Oh my word. Those are going to be some interesting trials to watch. And I wonder if they'll be on trial together, the mother and the son.
I read, and I didn't put this in my notes, but I think I read that they do plan on trying them together. That there was some arguments made about separating the trials, but they plan on trying them together. That's usually the way these things work, is that you put them on trial together because it just makes sense. It's the same crime, but they'll probably have to. Oh, that's what I did read. That's right. They plan on trying them together, but they're probably going to have, so this is an interesting thing. They're probably going to have two juries, because daughter Catherine may only be testifying against one of them, not because she's not cooperative, but because they only want to use her against one of them. Like, for instance, they probably feel they have the goods on Kevin, right? The brother, he admitted to it. He's got the gun. You know, they don't have any problems placing the gun in his hands. They don't have any problems saying he's the one that pulled the trigger. His only defense is self-defense. Well, they've blown that apart just from the forensic evidence. Now, how do they get mom involved? Well, they probably need Catherine, daughter, to get mom involved, and therefore she's probably only going to testify against mom, and that's why you would need separate juries. If you can follow my logic on all of that.
Yeah, makes sense. Oh my goodness, what a case.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's take. Do we have some time here for some of these questions? Let's see here. Let me see if we haven't answered some of these things already. Well, this is a point that is excellent that I think is always going to be raised. Sarah Sky Craig says, how do these people not understand? They are breaking the hearts of the little children they're supposed to love. How can they do that? The answer has to be they don't understand love. I think you're right, that Sarah, that this is way beyond the selfishness here is boundless. And the selfishness, of course, doesn't include caring about the children at all. Sarah again says, how can the mother and brother still take this case to trial when Catherine has pled guilty? It's unclear how that's going to make sense. You got thoughts on that one? I mean, we kind of discussed it.
I mean, I'll be surprised if they just continue to keep their not guilty pleas, because they're pretty screwed. So if they're really going to take this to trial, I guess they have nothing to lose. But how can they still take it to trial? I don't know. I think there's so much evidence against them. I think the entire plan was so botched. Good luck, but I mean, we'd like to see it. We'd like to watch that trial if they do take it to trial, because my goodness, just the digital evidence alone is very interesting.
Yeah. It's one of those cases where I from a purely academic and lawyer perspective want to see how they put this together, because I always like cases that involve a little bit of forensics, a little bit of digital evidence, a little bit of, circumstantial stuff, kind of weaving it all together. It's easy enough to put on a case to have somebody that's confessing to it, or a case where, they're caught on videotape. It's these types of cases that are so much more intriguing and interesting. So again, they've got a pretrial for that coming back on August 20th. And then trial itself is scheduled, you said, for some time in 2026.
Yeah, they're saying January, but I don't know. It's so vague. That is it really January? I hope so, if it is, but it's pretty vague right now. So we'll just keep an eye on it.
And you did a deep dive on this one already, right?
I did, because I can't believe this case kind of went under the radar for me. I'm like 8 months late to the case, but it's because it was back in the news now because of Catherine Restelli pleading guilty. So that's how I became aware of it, So it's one of those that you're like jaw on the floor. When you read the indictments, the PCAs, you're like, how did I miss this crazy case? So yes, I've done a deep dive on it. There's only one live stream replay available now, but we'll just continue to follow it as we go along.
We will put a link up to that deep dive that you did as well, so everybody can check that out, because I'm sure there's a bunch of facts that we have not included. I know that there are. I know there's a lot of really interesting little details on this whole thing. That's why it is going to be such a fascinating case. I imagine it is going to go to trial. I know you say, why are they going to go to trial? They've got so much evidence against them. I think they're going to go to trial because I don't feel like the government needs to offer them anything, right? I mean, it's like you're looking at first-degree murder. Sure, you can plead to that and go to prison for the rest of your life, but we're not really going to offer you much less than that. You systematically went about murdering a man over something as silly as child custody, so we're going to go ahead and let you go to trial on this one. Thank you for that, Tiffany. She put up the link to deep dive on it. So everybody check that out.
Thank you so much.
Not right now though, everybody. Stay where you're at.
Yeah, not now.
Check it out right after this. Okay.
Here, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's talk about another one that you are following now. This is currently in trial, and you've been doing the deep dives and giving everybody the background on this one. It is the case of Nicholas Casotus. I've been saying Kassotis, but I'm wrong. It's Kassotus. There he is. Interesting. I'll give one little interesting background on this, and then I'll let you kind of fill us in on what's happened so far. He is a former naval officer, and he was in the JAG Corps, meaning he's a lawyer. And in fact, he practiced as a prosecutor. When you're in JAG, you kind of wear both hats. So he also prosecuted criminal cases. And his wife, Mindy Kassotis, goes missing, and then her remains are found several years later, right? Isn't it like...
No, not years, not years. So it was a few days later, but it was unidentified for 5 months.
Ah, gotcha. That's what the delay was. Okay, so fill us in on what happened here. This is back in December of 2022 in the Riceboro and Liberty County, Georgia.
Georgia, yes. Okay, we're switching gears, brain. We're going to
I know.
We talk about so many cases. We're going to this case now, and I've got to get all my dates right. We just did this all day. We're on day 2 of the trial at the moment, and oh my goodness, what a case this is. So between November 27th and 29th of 2022, it is alleged that Nicholas Casotus murdered his wife Mindy. They don't know exactly how he may have murdered her, but she was dismembered. And her remains were found on December 2nd of 2022. So it's just a few days later.
Okay.
And hunters found a torso, and the next day a right leg, and then a left leg, and then a few days later, on December 7th of 2022, a head. But they had no idea who these remains were. So they looked for dental records, fingerprints, DNA, and they put out eventually a sketch that Kelly Lawson, a sketch artist at the GBI, that one. She made this sketch, which is actually really spot on. Still, no identification. So they got the FBI involved. They used their genetic genealogy. They found a family tree and went to a lady whose name I think was Betsy Mebane, which is Mindy's surname as well, maiden name. And they did a buccal swab, and they found the identity of the dismembered remains, which was Mindy Mebane. Then they went to where she last lived. Like, okay, where's her family? Where's her husband? Go to Savannah, Georgia, and they do blue star reagent tests, and they find the living room is lighting up. You know, it's reacting, the futon, they don't know what happened there, but they're like, something violent happened here. And we learned from the medical examiner on day 2 of the trial that she had like skull fractures and lacerations and all sorts of things, bruises. I mean, it really sounds really terrible. So it took 5 months to identify those remains, which was then on May 11th of 2023. And on May 12th, Nicholas was arrested. But guess where? He was in Pennsylvania. He just packed up and left. And he went to marry another lady. And he had a new name, Nicholas Killian Stark.
Yeah.
I think there's another name, Nicholas James Killian Stark, which is also his writer's name. He wrote horror stories. Yeah, and he married another lady there. And there he was like, wait, what? And they arrested him. And that lady that he married was also a horror writer. Shame. She must really be in shock at this point. But I mean, that to me, the behavior afterwards is the biggest red flag.
Yeah. Well, this got me wondering, and maybe you know why. So it's interesting to me when they find her. You would think that when you find remains, the first thing that police do is go, let's check missing persons. Well, there is no missing persons because he's not declaring her missing because he was the one that was with her. But how come during even those few days is no one else missing her? And I know that they were quote unquote on the run at this time. Can you talk to us about that? And that might explain why she goes missing for a few days and nobody really misses her.
Yeah, I mean, she was missing for 5 months without anyone knowing. She wasn't reported missing by her family. Everybody wonders why. Everybody's like, what the heck is wrong? But he had speculatively isolated her because when he married her in 2019, it was October 2019, she stopped posting to social media. So she was already being quite isolated. He was telling her he left the Navy in August of 2019. So he leaves the Navy and then marries her. Then he tells her, we have to run. We have to stay on the run. We're having this transient lifestyle because there's this guy, Jim McIntyre, who's like chasing me. He's controlling my finances. Our lives are in danger. He's a CIA agent. Like the story's so crazy, but the defense is going with it. And he's got a good defense attorney as well, Doug Weinstein. But like, okay, so Jim McIntyre is chasing them. And so they have to keep on the move and they have to lie. She has to make up that she's pregnant. So she's telling her parents at that time around the Thanksgiving weekend before she was murdered, she's 8 months pregnant. You know, so it's just like this whole story that he concocted and got Mindy to say, you have to lie to your parents. You have to say this so we stay safe. And so I think they just maybe saw her for a brief moment, hadn't seen her much. I'm just speculating in the years. And just they went on with their lives thinking, okay, well, they just moved. They were at an Airbnb when they were all together. Maybe they just moved. And then it was COVID.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that was a time that nobody was really, the whole world was upside down. So
right,
the normal rules of checking in with people. So I'm curious, this Jim McIntyre character, do we believe that is there evidence that she thought he was real as well? Because the prosecution is saying this is an entirely fabricated person and fabricated by him. But you're saying that he was using this character as a tool to control Mindy as well.
Yes. And I would speculate that he was actually running from his first wife, who had won a divorce settlement against him, and he owed her $1.5 million. And she won this just months before Mindy was murdered. But in the time after he left the Navy, he's like, this guy is after us. He's controlling my finances. So it sounds to me like Jim McIntyre is his first wife. You know, he just made a story out of it. But the state said that Mindy was in fear of her own life too. She was following along because she's like, oh my word, we have to stay. So he obviously was quite convincing. They said a lot of people believed him. So I think I don't like giving him credit, but he was a good liar. You know, that's the one thing he was good at, was lying. So I think she really believed it. And the state said it cost her life, which is really sad as well. Now, people say, why would he kill Mindy if he's running from the first wife? And why would he get married?
This is my question. My next question to you is, I understand the state's theory on motive, but I don't understand how it leads to the murder of Mindy. So they're saying he's on the run because he owes $1.5 million in this divorce settlement. By the way, that's just a civil judgment. Okay. That's not usually like what you're going to get arrested for. Usually not something that somebody goes on the run for. It's a civil judgment against him, but whatever. Okay. He's got financial motives, but how does that lead to the murder of his current wife? Like, in what way does murdering Mindy help him out in the situation involving the law, the money and the judgment? Do you follow me?
Yeah. And
or do you not follow me? It's kind of the point.
I follow. I'm following. I think some of the chatters while we're watching this trial, collectively, we've all been wondering, like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
But together, we've kind of speculated, decided that, oh, okay, so he owed the first wife from the divorce settlement $1.5 million. Then if he's going to divorce Mindy, he doesn't want to go through that again. He can't owe her money. He doesn't have that money. And he also doesn't want to be found out for all the lies because he's interested in another lady already. He was checked out of the relationship. He was already inappropriate with that woman and he just wanted to be with her, which you can tell from when he, just immediately packed up and went to Pennsylvania. And in February 2023, remember, Mindy was murdered between November 27th and 29th of 2022. February, he's engaged. April, he's married to this new woman.
Incredible.
May 11th, he's arrested. Sorry, May 12th, he's arrested.
That is a much more straightforward motive to me. He wanted to be with another woman, so he murders the woman that he's currently with. I'm not saying that makes any kind of sense. I'm just saying at least it's a motive. But the money thing to me maybe just explains kind of this transient lifestyle that they were living where she can go missing while he's kind of controlling her through this Jim McIntyre character. But to your point, it's currently in trial, and in opening statements, the defense starts off with this Jim McIntyre character. So tell us how did that play out? I mean, like you said, it's a good defense attorney, but this is a wild defense theory. How is that coming off in court?
I mean, the defense is leaning into the Jim McIntyre story, saying that they were really in fear and were running. And I wouldn't be surprised if the defense ends up being that Jim McIntyre did it, that he was a threat to their lives and he did murder Mindy and he dismembered her and all of that. So I don't know how that's going to, how the jury will even believe that, because I don't know, it just sounds absolutely ridiculous. But the defense did say Jim McIntyre, if he even worked at the FBI, in opening statements. So he made it very vague, which if I was on the jury, I'd be like, I don't believe that story at all. But they're leaning in, so good luck to them with that. They have to produce him then. Put him on the stand. Who's Jim McIntyre?
So that's an interesting point. I also thought that they were presenting this McIntyre character not so much to say that McIntyre killed Mindy, but that McIntyre was warning them that they're in danger. Wasn't that part of it? That McIntyre's letting them know, don't trust anyone. You're being followed. You're in danger. And that maybe McIntyre was right, that they were in danger, and that these ominous, mysterious people did kill Mindy, but it wasn't entirely this McIntyre character. I mean, the ridiculousness of all of this is pretty bad. I mean, somebody said it's like the if you ever saw that movie, The Fugitive, and the one-armed man, it's like that, even more ridiculous, which leads me to believe, like, why did the judge even allow this stuff in? I mean, we talk a lot about third-party culpability and alternate perpetrator evidence and stuff like that, but usually judges are pretty strict about not letting you bring ridiculous theories into court. But in this case, there actually is some evidence, not to support that this person existed, but at least to support that Mindy and Nicholas were talking about this person, right?
Yes. So that is how it seems. But okay. I must say, I mean, it's only day 2 at the time of this live stream of the trial. And already to know that Nicholas Casotus bought a knife from Home Depot on November 29th, then drove his car to the hunting area where the dismembered remains were found, and he left that very knife there. What?
Yeah.
That's so dumb. Like, you're on camera buying that knife, which is then left there, and your car is seen there. So how are you going to explain that? The defense says, well, you can't tell that it's him driving. It's just his car. It's just a knife that he bought.
One other wrinkle in this whole thing is that the prosecution is trying to say that because he was a JAG officer and a lawyer and therefore a prosecutor, that he has kind of extra knowledge in how to commit a crime and how to cover it up, which as a former prosecutor, I take offense by, thinking that I'm somehow better at murder, or maybe I am. Watch out, everybody. But the defense, my understanding is they're also trying to spin it the other way to say, well, a person with his education wouldn't be this sloppy, right? Because the remains were not hidden all that well, right? Isn't that what we're finding out? It's kind of a haphazard way of scattering a person's remains if you're really trying to conceal who it was that you killed.
Yes, unless he thought, with no hunting knowledge and no actual knowledge of the area, it's hunting season, they're all going to be out there shooting deer and everything, so I'm just going to put these remains here. No one will even know. They knew immediately. It was days later they discovered the remains. There's actually 2, if my brain can remember them, 2 legal questions that keep coming up that you might be able to answer.
Yeah.
May I ask them?
Please. Yeah.
One being this civil judgment, this $1.5 million settlement. The state has alleged that he left the Navy early because the Navy was going to make him pay it. So how does him leaving the Navy mean now he's not going to pay it? Do you know how that works?
I think what they're saying is the Navy would have garnished his wages. I think that's what they're saying, that if he had this judgment against him, the Navy would have taken that out of his pay and made him pay it off. And maybe he thought, well, I'm just going to leave. I mean, that there's a little sense to be made there, I think, of that.
And the second one is, if he didn't report his second wife missing, how does he get married legally because he got a new name. He changed his name in multiple
Oh,
states. He had multiple driver's licenses. So was that marriage even legal? I mean, there are divorce records, so that must have been, but how? Everybody wants to know how legally, if Mindy wasn't reported missing, no one knows that she was even dead at the time. How did he get married?
well, I think that you're right. I think that either means that the marriage to Mindy wasn't legal or the marriage to the new wife wasn't legal, right? Could have been that the marriage to Mindy was never on record and he didn't therefore need to record any kind of divorce from her, or it could be that the marriage to this most recent wife is not legal. Is that most recent wife still with him, by the way?
No, they got
Okay.
divorced in August of 2023. He got arrested May 12th and she divorced him in August of 2023. Yeah, so it must be, but also the one with Mindy, I mean, they made it, you can still find the wedding announcement, you can find wedding pictures, there's websites of it, the family was there, so I don't know, it seemed pretty legal, so I don't know how he managed to
I don't
marry
know.
the third
I
one.
mean, maybe, maybe you go to a different state and you just kind of,
Yeah.
the states don't communicate with each other about these records all that much. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't think there's some sort of nationwide federal database on all this stuff. I don't know.
I don't know, that's
Interesting
just,
question.
crazy case, another crazy case.
Yeah, another one. Let me see if I've got some questions here. Can we put up the one? I saw that Jimmy made a comment that I thought was kind of interesting. Oh, here it is. Thank you so much, Jimmy McNutty, for stopping by. Appreciate you, my friend. Says, I think Kassotis intentionally left the victim in a disorganized fashion to make the detectives think a JAG prosecutor would be smarter than to leave the body visible. Reverse psychology theme. So he's taking it even a step further. He's saying that the prosecution would say that the argument is like I'm saying, the defense is going to say, well, a former prosecutor wouldn't be so disorganized, and the prosecution would go, that's exactly what a former prosecutor would think, though, is to take it one step farther and be disorganized about it. I don't know. I mean, I feel like sometimes in these cases, we try to read too much into people's actions. Sometimes it could have just been sloppy. It could have just been he was in a hurry. It could have just been, I mean, he went about, like you said, purchasing the knife, purchasing these bins, right? And then he just somewhere like that, to me, seems like a lot of time and effort going into concealing a murder. And then you just really lazily actually do the concealing part.
Yes, but he turned off his GPS, he said. He didn't know they could track his vehicle. He burnt his car in March of 2023. What do you mean they know that he was there? He didn't think there were cameras in a hunting area. What do you mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he's just really not as smart as people thought he was.
Yeah. Crazy case. Jay Mofo, thank you so much for gifting the membership. Thank you, Teresa Robinson, for becoming a member. Becca Wisconsin, I'm going to say, Becca WI, says that she's letting everybody know she's a big Grizzly follower. And PGH Deb 412, thank you so much for becoming a member. I want to find if we have some other questions here. So that is in day 2 of trial. Do we know how long that's expected to go?
2 to 3 weeks. If I had to guess, by next week Friday, we're done. I don't know if that defense is going to take very long unless he takes the stand, which he might. This defendant is crazy enough to.
That was my next point. I want to get to this question here because I didn't know this, and I want you to tell me if this is in fact true. But then I do want to talk about the possibility of him testifying. But Shara Andrade says, why would the prosecutor defer opening and go second? Is that what happened?
That's what happened. We were like,
so
wait,
in the opening statements, they allowed the defense to give their opening first.
Yes. That was a shocker. We haven't seen that often, and especially not in like this.
I'm dumbfounded by that. I don't have a response to that. I've never seen that. I thought that it was, I thought that's just the way it worked because the defense is the defense. They don't have the burden of proof, so they can respond to what the prosecution's saying, but they allowed, I don't know what to say about that. I've never seen that before. And in my intuition tells me it shouldn't be allowed, but apparently it is here. Yeah. Usually CH is right. Usually I have plenty to say, probably too much, but right now I don't have anything to say because I've never heard of that before.
We will also all wait, what is happening now? To do a double take. Are you sure? Is this the defense now? But the prosecutor, she's an assistant district attorney, Lori Bayo. She's very good. I mean, she really brings the points across, the facts. She's so good at asking questions. So I don't know if it was like, okay, do your clown show, and then we'll take it from here. I don't know. It felt a bit like that.
I saw a question that was up and I missed it, that he gets to go up for sidebars. Is that happening in this trial as well?
Yes. That's so weird. Like, I know someone said Karen Reed got to go up as well.
Yeah.
But I know sometimes they have like earphones on and they listen into the sidebar. No, this guy's like, he's standing up. He's there. He's there with them.
Again, there's no like rules on it. You know, a lot of this is kind of like per jurisdiction, per kind of custom, per courtroom. Even comes up with the rules, but I have never in my time of practicing ever seen that done. Usually the defendant sits there and the attorney comes back and says, this is what happened. Because yeah, I mean, they're making arguments. I mean, they're entitled to hear all of that. They're allowed to see the transcripts. Again, there's not a rule on it, but it's bizarre to me. All right, let me see. I saw, if you had other questions, Tiffany, go ahead and put them up. I'm just trying to look through to make sure we're not missing anything here.
How does he afford this defense attorney when he couldn't post bond? He was granted a $5 million cash bond and $10 million property bond, couldn't post bond, been in jail ever since he was arrested, but he's got this fancy attorney. From what I understand, it's private counsel.
Well, maybe he was smart. Maybe he was smart and realized it's better to spend money on your attorney than it is on bail. Word to the wise, everybody out there. If you've got to choose between the two, get the better attorney and don't get out. JC Broadway says, wouldn't it be wild if the double jeopardy thing we talked about on Sunday happens here? The military can still charge him if he's acquitted. Would he have to be active again? So this is a question. We were talking about a case from a while ago where the defendant was acquitted, but the defendant was in the military at the time. And it was it was a crime committed against another military officer. And they called him back to active duty and arrested him and tried him again for murder after he had been acquitted by the state, because the double jeopardy didn't apply because it was dual sovereignties there. JC Broadway, excellent point in flagging that issue. I don't think it entirely applies here because it's not the same factual scenario as far as them both being active duty, but I'm glad that I'm glad that we've got you thinking. We got just a few minutes left.
Can you believe it?
What's that?
Time has flown. Can you believe it?
I know.
Okay.
Did you want to talk about, we had talked really briefly about Andrew Mcan. This is Andrew James McGann. This is the Devil's Den murders that took place, the horrible stabbing, two parents who were hiking. This is back in July 26th in Arkansas. The story goes that they were defending their daughters. The daughters survived. He has now been arrested, and he's confessed. And I know that you had been following that one closely as well. And I just wanted to kind of give you a chance to share some thoughts on that, or what do you think is going to happen next? I mean, he's confessed, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to trial, because they're talking about pursuing the death penalty.
Right. I mean, yeah, you could face the death penalty for this. I think this case is really frightening because it's a family, mom, dad, two kids on a hike, and they say planned in the document. So it sounds almost like he was lurking around. He'd covered his license plate.
Yeah.
And like he was on a mission. But why? Yeah. Why was he on that mission? It's a very difficult crime to understand. I know many crimes, we'll never know why they did it or how can they be so monstrous or whatever it is. But like, this is truly horrifying. Like, you're just going to suddenly stab the dad and then the mom's like, run to her kids. They're running. They're trying to get help. I mean, I don't know. This guy it's an interesting case from a psychological perspective, especially because he was a teacher. Yeah. And now all these stories are coming out of him being really inappropriate with school kids and being passed around between schools and keeping kids behind in class, saying, you all go out for recess, but you stay behind with me. I mean, I think this is going to get worse than we think. As much as we can't think it can get worse, it probably will.
I think what's unfortunately going to happen is that it's going to turn into one of those mental defense cases. And I think that once lawyers get involved, they're going to start to have psychological evaluations done. And this is going to bounce back and forth in the realm of mental health. And if it ever does ever go to trial, that's the whole case is going to be, because he's already confessed. He's confessed. Yeah. There's DNA evidence. I mean, it's a rock solid case for the prosecution. They're going to pursue the death penalty, as well they should. I mean, you like you just pointed out, it's a nightmare scenario. 2 innocent people protecting their children. You can't imagine what else you would reserve the death penalty for. But to your point, if you look at his mugshot there that we just had up, that screams mental health defense to me all over the place, especially somebody, like you said, no real motivation for this. But I will say, mental insanity doesn't mean crazy. Insanity, from a legal perspective, means not understanding the consequences of your actions. Well, if you cover up your license plate, sure sounds like what you know you're about to do is not something you want to get caught for, right?
Yeah, and they said at a press conference that they think he's done this before. I was like, whoa, you literally said that. So, wow, what other cases are you looking into? Now, what are we talking about? Wow. So they're still investigating him. Imagine if he turns out to be, I don't know what, if he's done this before, how many times, where, who, why do they say that at a press conference?
Wow. I had not heard that. That's new to me. God, so much crazy stuff. Gisela, yes. You are fantastic. It's time for your bed. I want to give you a huge, first of all, thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting with us. Thanks for bringing the whole Grizzly crew with you. And also congratulations on 450,000 subscribers. That is incredible. That is a real testament to the hard work that you do and the community that you've built. And I consider myself honored to say that I'm a part of that community and a big fan of yours as well.
Thank you. And as I say, the feeling's mutual, and congrats to you. You're over 50K now.
I know.
100K next. Here we go. Lots of Grizzlies here too. We share communities. I love that. So Thank you so much.
Oh, please. All right. I'm going to be bugging you soon to be back on here, and I'm going to be bugging you soon to be back on your channel. So thank you again. Yes. And we'll be talking soon.
Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. Before I let you go, anything
Hi,
that
everyone.
you have coming up that you want to tell everybody about? Is there any shows or anything, cases you're working on? I know you're following this case, so I want people to follow the Kassotis case with you. But is there anything else special you got coming up?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm just covering this trial, which is expected to last 2 to 3 weeks. And, energy is limited sometimes, as much as we want endless energy. So that's what I'm doing right now. If anything else comes up, I know there's all these, Idaho documents that are coming out and things to still look at. Yeah, but I'm pretty much there every day. People are looking for me. They can find me on Grizzly True Crime on my YouTube channel on most days of the week.
You're fantastic. Thank you again. Now I can say goodbye. Now you can go to bed. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Love her. She's fantastic. All right. Let me give you guys some quick announcements, and then we will get you out of here. You're not allowed to go to bed just yet, though. She's got to get to bed because I think it's 3 o'clock in the morning, her time now. First of all, I wanted to share something with you. You may have heard me announce this before. One of the things that we have really made a goal on this channel is we do not ever want to have to put ads up from YouTube during our live streams. And we've really made that a goal. And part of that is that we've tried to find sponsors, and we've now found our very first sponsor ever that we're very happy to announce to you. And that is a company named Aura. Aura deals with things like something I deal with all the time: robocalls, spam email. If you're worried about your personal data getting leaked, your passwords getting leaked. I get robocalls every single day, all the time, and I have to answer all of them because I don't know if that's a client calling from prison or not. Aura is a company that handles all of that. It is a all-in-one digital security. They give you alerts about your information. They give you a VPN. They give you an antivirus. They give you a password manager. They give you ID theft insurance. They have US-based support. And one of the great things that they do, I've been using them for a while now. I get emails all the time saying that, hey, we've removed your information from some random company says we've removed your information from our database per your request. I didn't make that request. Aura made that request on my behalf. And so it's good to know that my information is starting to be cleaned from the internet. So anyhow, the deal that we have with Aura is that they are going to give our Courtroom Confidential followers a 14-day free trial. So go to aura.com/courtroomconfidential. Please check it out. It's a free product. It's a great product, or it's free for 14 days. It's a great product, and it's a great way to support the channel. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to share that with you, and I hope that you do check it out. Another thing we want to tell you about is CrimeCon coming up. Like I said, before we got started here tonight, we were putting together the final details, and there's a lot of details for the booth that we're going to have at CrimeCon. We hope that you guys are going to be here for that. It is September 5th through 7th in, oh, thank you, Aura says Tamara. Thank you, Tamara. In Denver, September 5th through 7th. We're going to be there. We're going to have a booth. We hope to say hello to as many of you as possible. We're going to have little fun gifts and giveaways, and we just want to say hi and welcome, greet you face to face for the first time. And in order to give you a little help in making your trip out there, we talked to the CrimeCon folks, and they gave us a code. So if you enter the word courtroom, all one word, all in caps, at checkout, they'll give you 10% off. So that ain't too bad either. What did you miss on Monday? We had our live Monday night special. It was just me yelling at you for a full hour about the Austin Drummond case and the James McGann case. Please check that out. That's already up on the website, on the YouTube channel, I mean. Stay tuned. This Friday on our sister channel, Courtroom Confidential Live Trials, we're going to be covering one of the last, I think it is the last pretrial or one of the last pretrials for the Donna Adelson case. That's coming up on Friday. So please check it out there. Say hello to us in the chat. Saturday, of course, we have our weekly roundup that premieres at 8 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Sunday, what do we do, everybody? All together now on Sunday, we show up for Sunday Fun Day. You can leave us a message at thecourtroomconfidential.com. We do that. We're going to be answering all of your messages live at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. I have not even started to look at the messages this week, but I can tell you already they're going to be some good ones. And then Monday, all I will say, I got in a little bit of trouble for trying to oversell it. All I will say is stay tuned for Monday. Monday, I think, is going to be very special. So I hope to see you all again on Monday, because I don't think you're going to want to miss it. Let me say thank you to our newest members, Ashley Higgins, Jen H., Clarice Starling. I like that, how the spelling of that. Helen Douglas, Debbie McCarthy, Madeline Jimenez, Taj Mom, Just Nina, Brenna Matchett, Jana de Armand, Virginia, Claire, I'm going to say Minnesota Mom, Cakes Boo, The Quiet Fringe, David 67, Misty, Julia Dunners. Somebody sent me a message, a comment the other day saying that this is their favorite part, is seeing me butcher all these names. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Leona Ginson, Margaret Lines, Jersey Joe 1954, Pesky Pirouette, Lisa M. Brown, Cub, Pam Kaiser, Above Ground, Slow Momo, Sharon Chuvala, Angela Hellcat, Carolyn Keel, Sarah Mia, Wendy Hughes, T.L. Henderson, Patty Ellie, Grendel, Kristen Wright, Michaela Compton Music. Pardon me for that. I got it right. Bren Mick, Teresa Long, Stacy, Big Dog 5758, Church House Nightmares and Makeup, Wendy Turner, Clara M, Dale Gaglio, Root Beer Float, Beautiful Messy Ball, Banana Collins, Mimi Lisa, and Deb Bazil. You guys are all fantastic. Thank you so much for becoming part of our membership program. If you want to know where you can become a member, go to our website. That's thecourtroomconfidential.com. That's also where you can leave us a message for Sunday Fun Day. You can read the list back one more time and you missed it, says Kaylin. Well, Kaylin, you can just watch it on replay if you really want to hear it again. You can also find out where we get our where to get our merch. All right, here it is. The shirt of the night. What color is it? Tiffany, let us know. This looks like I feel like I'm partially colorblind. This looks like some kind of blue to me. Periwinkle Princess, you are lying to me. You are lying to me. This is not called Periwinkle Princess. You did not dress me in a shirt with the color name of Periwinkle Princess. I like washed denim, lavender dreams. I think I like that name. All right. Well, it's Periwinkle Princess. Go to our merch website to find out where to buy all of this stuff. And finally, a big thank you to our mods, Afton and Kathy and therapists you know. And the biggest thank you and a big happy birthday to Shy Gal, otherwise known as Sonia. Happy birthday, Sonia. Everybody wish Sonia a big happy birthday. And thank you so much for all of your help and for being a mod here and being part of the family. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Special thanks to Gisela for staying up late and to all the Grizzlies who are in the chat. You're all fantastic. Wash denim. I don't think so. I don't think so. You had your chance. It's Periwinkle Princess. Well, you're amazing, Shy Gal, and we appreciate you. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Have a great Wednesday. We will see you all on Saturday. Take care, everybody.